Welcome to the SmartKeys podcast. I have to be honest with you right off the bat. I am absolutely fascinated by the topic we are digging into today. You know how much I love finding tools that just, well, delete the boring parts of work. Today we're looking at a platform that claims it can basically kill the PDF and the boring slide deck forever. We are doing a comprehensive deep dive into Synthesia.
It is a massive topic, and frankly, it's one that's becoming unavoidable if you're looking at the future of work. We aren't just talking about a cool little gadget for making funny videos. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how businesses communicate.
Exactly. I think most people have seen those AI avatars popping up on social media feeds. Sometimes they look a little stiff, sometimes they look surprisingly real, and you have to do a double take. But the source material we have today, this really comprehensive review, it frames Synthesia as something much bigger. It's pitched as a full-blown video production studio right in your browser.
And that's the key distinction. If you look at corporate communication right now, there's a massive glaring problem. We know video is better for engagement. The data is absolutely clear on this. People retain information so much better when they watch it compared to reading a dense text document.
But traditional video is just so hard. It's expensive, it's slow, and it's incredibly difficult to scale.
Right.
Think about the logistics. You need cameras, lighting, mics, you need to book a studio, you need an actor, or at least a willing executive.
And if they mess up a line, you're resetting the whole shot. It's a production.
A whole production.
Precisely. And that friction is why most companies just default back to the PDF. Synthesia is trying to solve that specific bottleneck. Their premise is simple but radical. Turn text or slides into a presenter-led video in minutes. No cameras, no crews.
And that's the mission for this deep dive. We're not just reviewing software here. We're going to unpack the strategy of scalable video production. We need to figure out if this is actually ready for prime time in a serious business, context training, onboarding, that kind of thing. So let's start with the most obvious thing, the thing that catches everyone's eye first, the avatars.
Right, the studio avatars. This is the face of the product.
The review mentions there are over 150 of them. But here's the big question, and I think it's the one everyone asks. Do they actually look real? Or do we still have that creepy, uncanny valley vibe going on, where it looks almost human, but something's just off?
It's a valid concern. That uncanny valley is a real psychological hurdle. But the technology has moved very, very fast. According to the data, we are well past the robotic phase of a few years ago. What's fascinating is what they call microgestures.
Oh, I loved that detail in the reading. Unpack that for us. Why do microgestures matter so much?
So think about how humans actually talk. Early AI video, the avatars would just stare dead ahead and move their lips. It felt unnatural because humans don't sit perfectly still.
Right, we shift around, we blink.
Exactly. We tilt our heads, we raise our eyebrows. Synthesia has programmed these avatars with those subtle behaviors. A small nod, a head turn.
So it's the stuff you don't even consciously notice, but your brain expects it to be there.
Precisely. They're subconscious human cues. They signal engagement. And when you're watching a training video, those micro-gestures actually help keep you focused because it feels like you're watching a real presenter.
That makes total sense. And another thing that kind of blew my mind was the customization. You can change their clothes.
Yes. And while that sounds like a fun little feature, it's a great example of focusing on business utility. Context matters. If you're doing a safety briefing for a lab, you don't want your avatar in a three-piece suit.
It looks ridiculous.
It totally disconnects the viewer, so you can swap them into a lab coat or business attire for a quarterly update. You can even add a company logo to the closing.
It's like playing dress-up, but for corporate strategy. Now, the source material made a distinction between different types of avatars that I think is important. It's not just one type.
This is crucial for understanding the workflow, yeah. You have the stock avatars, the 150-plus ready-to-go faces, but then you have personal custom avatars and studio-grade custom avatars.
Okay, let's break those down. Personal means I can make one of myself, right?
Correct. A personal custom avatar is something you can create with your webcam at your desk. It's designed for speed. Let's say you're a team lead and you want to send a quick weekly update. You capture your likeness once, and for the rest of the year, you just type the script.
That sounds incredibly tempting, just typing a text and having me say it. So what about the studio-grade ones?
That's for the high-stakes content. A global training program, external marketing where the quality has to be flawless, 4K resolution, perfect lighting.
So a much higher fidelity.
Much higher. It's a professional capture process, and it ensures absolute brand consistency across hundreds of videos.
So you could literally be in 100 places at once.
That's the idea. It scales the human element without scaling the human effort. You clone the messenger so the message travels further.
Which brings us to the workflow. Because having a great avatar is one thing, but if it takes 3 days to use it, no one will.
Right. The thing that stops most people from making video is the editing software. If you've ever opened Adobe Premiere, it's intimidating.
Oh, it's a wall of buttons and timelines? Synthesia doesn't look like that at all.
No, and that's intentional. The review describes it as a scene-based editor.
It sounds like it works almost exactly like PowerPoint.
That is the genius of the user interface. If you can build a slide deck, you can build a video, you work in scenes, you type your script for that scene, drag in your visuals, and the avatar delivers the lines for that specific slide. You're not managing a complex timeline.
And the sources mention you can even import a PowerPoint or a PDF directly to get started.
Yes, or even just paste a URL from a blog post to create a video draft. It strips the text and lays out the scenes for you. It's a massive time saver.
But what about granular control? We've all heard GPS voices mispronounce street names. Does that happen here?
It can, but they built tools to fix it. This is essential for clarity in business. You can go in and set specific pronunciations at the word level.
So if I want the avatar to say SAS instead of SAS, I can just tell it to do that.
Exactly. You can also add pauses to let a point sink in. It gives you directorial control without needing to do multiple takes.
Okay, so we have realistic avatars and an editor anyone can use. But here's where it got really interesting for me. The aha moment in the source material was about localization.
Yes. This is where the strategic advantage becomes undeniable.
We're talking about more than 140 languages.
Right, so connect this to a global company. Traditionally, if you wanted to roll out a training video in 30 countries, what were your options?
Bad ones, subtitles that people ignore.
Dubbing, where the lips don't match the audio. It just looks awful.
Or you have to reshoot the whole thing with local actors, which costs a fortune.
A fortune. And it takes months. Synthesia offers one-click translation. You take your English script, translate it to Spanish or Japanese or German, and the avatar not only switches languages, but the lip syncing automatically adjusts to match the new language.
That is wild. So the avatar is speaking fluent Japanese with perfect lip movements, even if the original script was in English.
Correct. It means a company can ensure every single employee, no matter where they are, gets the exact same message and training quality in their native language almost instantly.
That is a game changer. But speaking of consistency, the review talks a lot about brand governance. Sounds a bit dry, but I think this is why big enterprises are buying in.
Yeah, it is. This is the SmartKeys focus on business efficiency. If you unleash a video tool to your entire company, you risk getting a mess. Different fonts, different colors, ugly layouts.
It dilutes the brand.
Totally. So Synthesia has brand kits. You lock the fonts, you lock the colors, the logo placement.
So it's like a style guide that's hard-coded into the software.
Exactly. So a non-technical person in HR can make an onboarding video and will look perfectly on brand without them needing to know anything about design.
That is smart. It removes the ugly factor from internal comms. Now let's pivot a bit. We've talked about avatars talking, but sometimes you want more than a talking head. You want B-roll.
Right. That supplementary footage you cut away to keep the video visually interesting.
The source material brings up integrations with 2 other AI giants, Veo and Sora. How do those fit in?
This brings up an important distinction. Business video versus creative video. Synthesia is for predictable business outcomes. But when you need that cinematic flair, you can generate B-roll using Veo or Sora directly within the platform.
And they aren't the same, are they? The review made a really interesting comparison.
No, they serve different purposes. Veo is the speed demon. It can render a clip in under 2 minutes. It's great for quick transitions.
And Sora.
Sora is the heavyweight, high-realism cinematic storytelling. But it takes longer, maybe up to 10 minutes a clip.
So Veo for a tutorial, Sora for the big company vision video.
That's a good way to put it. It's about matching the tool to the outcome.
And where does Kling fit in? The review mentioned that one too.
Kling is positioned as a good option for marketing visuals, especially on price. But the analysis suggests Synthesia wins on governance and what are called LMS features.
And that seems to be the crucial distinction. Synthesia is a corporate learning partner, not a movie studio.
Exactly. And to prove that, we should look at the numbers. The case studies in the source material are pretty compelling.
Yeah, they're not small. Let's look at Zoom. The review says they cut video production time by 90%.
90%. I mean, just think about the operational efficiency. They made over 200 micro videos. They estimated saving about $1,500 per employee on training.
That's massive. And then there's Heineken, training 70,000 staff worldwide. I can't even imagine the logistics of that without a tool like this.
It'd be a nightmare. Flying trainers, renting venues. Teleperformance is another one. They saved up to $5,000 per video.
But the one that really stood out to me was Infinite Peripherals.
Oh, the sales one, yes.
They booked 35% more meetings after using targeted video.
And that shows it's not just about saving money on training, it's about generating revenue. People engage with a clear video explainer more than a wall of text in an email.
It's a powerful argument, but I have to play devil's advocate for a second. We're talking about huge companies, Zoom, Heineken. They have strict IT departments. Why do they trust this?
That's the enterprise readiness factor. You can't just use some random AI generator with corporate data. Synthesia is SOC2 compliant and GDPR ready.
Okay, so for listeners who aren't in IT, SOC2 basically means they have rigorous security procedures in place to protect data.
Exactly. And GDPR is the very strict European data privacy law.
Yeah.
Being compliant there is a huge deal. They also have audit trails, roles, and permissions, so you can control who does what. That's why a Fortune 100 company signs the contract.
And there was one other acronym that stood out for the learning and development folks, SCORM.
Yes. SCORM export. This is huge.
Okay, break that down for us. What is SCORM?
Think of SCORM as the universal plug for corporate education. You make a training video, but you need to put it into a learning management system, an LMS.
The software companies use to track employee training.
Right. A SCORM package is a file format that plugs directly into that system so it can track. Did the employee watch it? Did they finish it? It makes the video a trackable learning asset.
It closes the loop on education. Without that, HR has no idea if anyone actually did the training.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've praised the features, the scaling, the security, but nothing's perfect. The source material looked at about 2,000 G2 reviews. The rating is high, 4.7, 4.8. But what were the cons?
Well, the pros are what we expected. Ease of use, speed, quality. But the main limitation is emotional nuance.
Right. At the end of the day, it's an avatar. It's not Meryl Streep.
Exactly. If you're doing a video on how to submit an expense report, it's perfect, clear, consistent. But if you're doing a video on how to handle a grieving customer, something that requires deep empathy, the current tech falls short. It can feel a bit flat.
So don't use it for the heartfelt apology video.
Or for high-stakes emotional leadership messages. In those cases, turn on a real camera. Use the robot for the robot work. Use the human for the human work.
That's good advice. The other limitation mentioned was the pricing.
Yeah, it's based on minutes per month. There are different tiers, but on the lower ones, you're limited on how many avatars you can use and how many minutes of video you can generate.
So you could run out of credits.
You could. And if you need those key enterprise features like SCORM export, you're looking at the enterprise tier.
And there's a free plan, but the review calls it a sandbox.
It's really just for testing. You get about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It's enough to prove the concept to your boss, but not enough to run a department.
Okay, so let's zoom out. What's the big takeaway here?
If we look at the summary, Synthesia positions itself as the one best choice. If your goal is consistent, branded, scalable training and comms. It's not for making a movie. It's for making business communication flow.
It's for the workhorse content, the stuff that keeps the lights on.
And the practical takeaway from the source material is very forward-looking. The future of business comms is repeatable video.
Repeatable video. I like that term. What does it mean in practice?
Well, think about it. In the past, if a company policy changed, you had to update a PDF and hope people read it. If it was a video, you'd have to reshoot the whole thing.
A huge pain.
Now, you open Synthesia, you edit one sentence in the script, you hit render, and 10 minutes later, your entire global training library is up to date.
That agility is the real ROI. It turns video into living software rather than static media.
Exactly. It moves us from a read-first culture to a watch-first culture in the workplace. And that matches how people consume information in their private lives.
So for anyone listening and thinking, how do I even start? The advice is simple. Start small.
Yes. Don't try to replace your entire training library overnight. Pick one use case, maybe it's a weekly sales update or a welcome video. Use the free plan and just test the workflow.
And see if it saves you from setting up a tripod.
And see if people actually watch it.
I think we're standing on the edge of a massive shift here. As these avatars get better, the barrier to entry is just going to disappear.
I agree. It's a fascinating space to watch.
Well, this has been an incredibly insightful look into the future of how we work. I want to thank you for breaking down the details with us.
Always a pleasure.
And thank you to everyone listening. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please do us a huge favor and subscribe to the SmartKeys podcast. It helps us keep bringing you these insights. And hey, if you want to see all the nitty-gritty details we discussed, you should absolutely read the full article, Synthesia Review, Studio Avatars, Templates, and Training Videos. We've put the link right there in the show notes for you.
It's worth a read if you're serious about this.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep learning, and maybe try turning that next long email into a video. See what happens. Thanks for tuning in.